Now, 10 years ago, they staged a fierce battle against the harmonized draft constitution. A team of the church and a section of the political class in a movement christened the Red Card Movement marshaled 31% of Kenyans to reject the proposed constitution. Their opposition to the document took blood and sweat quite literally as a campaign rally for the No campaign was disrupted by blasts that saw deaths and injuries. And as the clamor for amendments to the 2010 Constitution through the Building Bridges initiative gathers pace, the chickens have come home to roost for the Red Card team. Sam Ogina reports on the campaign whose motto was Tuangushe, Turekebishe, Tupitishe.
They were the loudest voices of dissent against the then draft constitution in 2010, though outnumbered and outmaneuvered by the pro-constitution brigade that included bigwigs in the Grand Coalition government. They soldiered on to register a remarkable challenge against the majority. The No campaign that brought together church leaders and ministers in President Mwai Kibaki's administration, led by the then Minister for Higher Education William Ruto, put up a fight running away with 31% of Kenyans in rejecting the constitution. The majority may have had their way and the minority their say at the ballot on August 4th, 2010. But 10 years down the line, the push for amendments to the Constitution has reignited the reforms debate. Members of the Red Card team see it as an opportunity to merge the divergent interests voiced in 2010.
The people who said yes and the people who said no have a place to merge and start looking together at that moment.
Oh, it's no!
The No camp slogan then was
Tuangushe, Turekebishe, halafu Tupitishe.
The argument then was that certain articles in the document needed to be ring-fenced or streamlined before subjecting it to a referendum. There was a general consensus that nearly 20% of the constitution required some panel beating, but the point of departure was when to tighten the loose ends, before or after the referendum.
Majority of what is in this constitution is borrowed from outside. And it was cutting and pasting for Kenyans.
When we were doing the constitution, there was a lot of pain in a lot of people in some quarters because of what they may have gone through during the days of Moi or the days of Kenyatta themselves. So there was that. And somebody was looking, what can we do to cut this off, to make sure this will never happen again? So there were things that they cut off without looking the positive part of it.
Among the most contentious chapters touched on representation and model of governance. Men of the cloth and the newfound political allies in the No camp warning against a pure presidential system as enshrined in the executive structure. That argument rekindled 10 years later with the Building Bridges initiative seeking to review and expand the executive structure of government. For the No team, their campaign against the constitution then has been validated.
Even now you can see in the presidential system that, of course, the presidency has a lot of powers.
If we say that the winner takes it all, what is going to happen to the loser? The loser said, you go home. And this loser has a following almost as big as that of the winner.
The No team warning that the country was flirting with danger in advocating for a pure presidential system, where in the case of a hotly contested State House contest, the runners-up is locked out from any leadership position and left in the cold. This termed as a recipe for chaos.
We were saying, no, this is not right. The loser should be the recognized leader of the opposition and should be in parliament.
That's why we're saying that I think the fact that we needed a parliamentary system is so that you have the power spread to enable easy development or sharing of the cake.
They are paid by the government, and they are taken care of by the government, and they have a shadow cabinet so that they can keep an eye on the government.
The church also took particular issue with the inclusion of the Kadhi's court in the constitution. The clergy warning that Kenya, despite being predominantly a Christian society, was a secular nation, and constitutionalizing the Kadhi's court meant nearly turning the country into a religious state.
So there needed to be a separation of religion and state. Now, when one religion is elevated above others and it is imprinted in the constitution, and the same constitution has said this is a secular state, we saw that contradiction.
The church then feeling one religion was being given an elevated status.
The church was very afraid that there was something left within the realm of religion that would jeopardize the equality in the way that the religions are treated.
The Kathis are going to be paid by the government. The government does not have money. It depends on tax collectors, or the taxes that it collects from the people. That means the tax that I pay is going to be used to finance another religion or the activities of another religion. That was our stand. And it still is our stand, up to and including now.
But the No Brigade did not have it easy opposing what was deemed as a constitutional moment. A dark cloud would engulf the referendum campaigns in what was a blot in the country's agitation for change in governance. A church meeting for the No campaign would be attacked, killing 6 and leaving several injured. This would send panic and fear across the Red Cat team and slow down the momentum that was already steamrolling.
It was a grenade that was being thrown, and it was aimed at the platform, but it didn't get to the platform. It hit a post, and then it fell down. Then the blast came. Now, what is surprising is up to and including today, nobody has ever been persecuted. Or not persecuted, prosecuted.
This would attract condemnation and calls for answers as the No team felt vulnerable and exposed, this tainting the odyssey to the rebirth of a country into a new constitutional order.
It was chaotic. People lost their lives. And the aim, what did that do? That broke the momentum.
Land ownership was not just a thorny but highly emotive issue. The chapter on land pricking the political class, and objections raised on the composition, structure and powers allocated to the National Lands Commission.
The Constitution does not say how Kenyans will own land. They expect that whoever has got land now, however he got it, will continue to have it. Some of them had 1 million acres. Some of them 2 million acres. And the average of the top cream is 350,000 acres. Everybody else can squeeze in Mathare Valley, can squeeze in Kibera.
There were things about land that appealed to the people, especially in Rift Valley and areas where there was uncertainty about what would happen to land. And that resonated very well with the people.
The No team then may have lost the argument, but today their position on the need for an audit of the 2010 Constitution remains unchanged. There is a general agreement that critical sections of the Constitution are yet to be fully exploited to give Kenyans the much desired and intended outcome.
So the Constitution envisaged the usage of our Chapter 6, integrity among public servants and among anybody who is working anywhere. But corruption seems to have grown more. Is it that we don't have the Constitution was not written properly? Is it that that particular chapter is not a requirement? Should it be there?
It remains on paper, that the best person for any department of government is a major thief. If you can be able to steal and prove in fact that you can be able to steal, you become an executive director. If you are a good supervisor of thieves, then you amend the chairman.
Point number 3 and 4 of clause 26 gives and takes with the other hand. Says no abortion, but there can be other laws.
Chapter 15 of the Constitution created 10 commissions and 2 independent offices. The efficacy has been subject of discussion. Critics calling for a merge of some commissions and a reduction in the number of commissioners. Some even proposing to have the commissioners serve on part-time basis to tame the ballooning wage bill. Sam Ogina, Citizen TV, Nairobi.